The Middle East, one of the most important and unstable regions on Earth. Here, geography is not just borders on a map. It is power, control, and global influence. At the center of it all lies the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow but critical waterway through which a large portion of the world's oil supply passes every day. To the west, the United States maintains a strong military presence across key bases and naval routes. In the region itself, Iran sits at the center of rising tensions, surrounded by strategic pressure points and competing interests. Every movement here matters, because even a small escalation can affect global energy markets, security, and international stability. This is not just a map. This is the front line of global power. And right now, the situation is more fragile than ever.
President Trump is rejecting Iran's latest proposal to end the war. The president calling it, quote, not acceptable, saying Iran hasn't paid a big enough price for what they've done over the last 47 years.
President Trump has rejected Iran's latest proposal to end the war with the U.S. A ceasefire established 3.5 weeks ago is still holding as the war passed a critical juncture.
President Trump on Friday saying he's not satisfied with an Iranian proposal to end the war.
For weeks, the world had watched as tensions between the United States and Iran pushed the Middle East to the edge. Missiles had already been fired. Naval forces had been deployed. Global markets were reacting to every new escalation. Then suddenly, there was a pause. A ceasefire, fragile, temporary, and uncertain, but enough to make the world believe that maybe the worst was over. Behind the scenes, diplomacy moved quickly. Messages were exchanged through intermediaries. Proposals were drafted. Conditions were debated. Every side was trying to shape the outcome before it slipped out of control. Then, Iran made its move. A formal proposal to end the war. On paper, it looked like progress. A chance to stabilize a region already under extreme pressure. A possible exit from a dangerous conflict. But inside Washington, the reaction was very different. Because this wasn't just a peace proposal, it was a strategic test. Iran's proposal included sanctions relief, release of frozen assets, reduction of U.S. military presence in the region, and new arrangements over the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most critical energy choke points in the world. For Iran, this was a way to end the war while keeping strategic leverage intact. For the United States, it raised a deeper concern. One issue was not clearly resolved: the nuclear question. And for Washington, that changes everything. For years, U.S. policy toward Iran has been built around one central goal: preventing nuclear escalation. Every sanction, every negotiation, every military decision has been shaped by that priority. So when Iran's proposal appeared to delay or soften that issue, rather than directly resolve it, it triggered immediate rejection. And President Donald Trump made the final decision. He rejected the deal, not as a negotiation tactic, but as unacceptable in its current form. From the U.S. perspective, the logic was simple. A deal that does not fully address nuclear risk does not solve the problem. It only delays it. And in this region, delayed problems often return as larger crises. But rejecting a deal does not end a war. It reshapes it. And that is exactly what is happening now. The ceasefire still exists, but it is no longer stable. It is held together by hesitation rather than agreement. Both sides remain alert. Both sides continue preparations. Neither side fully trusts the other. In the Strait of Hormuz, tension remains constant. Naval forces patrol critical routes. Commercial ships move carefully through high-risk waters. Surveillance systems track every movement in real time, because everyone understands the same reality. This conflict is not over. It is paused. Global markets are already reacting. Oil prices remain sensitive to any signal of escalation. Shipping routes remain under pressure. Governments are watching closely, aware that any disruption could trigger worldwide consequences. Because this is no longer just a regional conflict. It is a global pressure point, and behind the diplomacy, both sides are preparing. The United States has maintained its military positioning across the region. Air and naval forces remain ready. Strategic options are still active. Iran, meanwhile, continues to strengthen its deterrence posture, signaling that it will not accept terms it views as surrender. This is the paradox of modern conflict. Even when war pauses, preparation never stops. So, what happens next? There are only a few possible directions. A revised deal where both sides adjust enough to reach agreement. A frozen conflict where tension remains but open war is avoided. Or a renewed escalation triggered by a single miscalculation. But right now, none of these outcomes is guaranteed, because the rejection of Iran's proposal did more than stop a deal. It reset the situation. It exposed how wide the gap still is between both sides. And it confirmed one thing clearly. Peace is not just about stopping war. It is about solving what caused it. And that part is still unresolved. The world is watching closely, not because war is happening, but because it could return at any moment. What you are seeing is not just a rejected deal. It is a turning point, and the next move could change everything.